Welcome, listeners, and thanks for checking out the Inebri-art podcast. Before we get into it, I just wanted to mention that we are having a art show at Craft Beer Cellar, where we normally record. It is located on Main Street in Plymouth, Mass., and the art show is called Santa Loves Benjamin. There are 36 pieces from 17 different artists, and every single piece has a $100 price tag on it, so you can get some inexpensive art and give it away for a Christmas present, or just keep it for yourself, whichever you prefer. And that show will hang, well, it's hanging now, we just hung it up a few hours ago, and will hang until the middle of January, until we get the next artist up there. So make sure you stop by the Craft Beer Cellar, purchase your beer, cider, wine, whichever, up there from all the new artists, and Merry Christmas. So we're back here at Lucioso's Pub in Plymouth because our regular recording place is still recovering from the flood. And we are here with Rob Loesher, a musician, guitar player, and singer, who was recently put out a CD. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you.
So what's the name of the CD?
Microbrew.
Microbrew, okay.
It's named because I've been making these songs for about 10 years. And so they've been brewing up, making sure the recipe's right.
Is this your first CD that you put out?
It is.
Okay. So I have known you for quite a while because we used to work at Home Depot together.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Fun times.
Yes. And one of us is still there.
Back there. Back off.
Yeah.
Who knows?
No, just messing with you. But so you moved to the North Shore here in Mass, and that's when I found out you played an instrument or music at all. So how long have you been playing?
So how old am I? 12 years.
Okay.
12 years. I remember on my 16th birthday I asked for a guitar, and I asked for an electric and acoustic, an electric and acoustic, and then I ended up getting an electric after I switched to acoustic and made it my final answer. But I started when I was 15, and then when I was 16 I actually started to get decent at it.
Yeah. Was there like what was the spark of inspiration? Like what made you pick guitar? Like what?
So I'm really good at hacky sack. Which,
okay.
Hooray! My dad was like, hey, check this out. And like I could do all the little tricks and whatnot. It was pretty cool. But he didn't think it was pretty cool. So he's like, yeah, dude, that's cool and all, but it'd be really cool if you did something like, I don't know, guitar, and you were up on stage and they were like, yeah, Robin, and you were doing riffs. And I was like, well, maybe I'll pick up guitar. And then I ended up enjoying it a lot. And I actually don't hacky sack anymore. So that's sad.
So you don't, like, when you're playing out, you don't hacky sack while you play guitar?
So I was doing a talent show, and I really practiced that for a long time to see if I could do it. I can't.
No.
But I definitely tried.
That could be like your shtick. Yeah.
Yeah, the hacky sack guitar fool.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix played with his teeth, and you could hacky sack.
Wow.
Yeah. So you said you started when you were like 14, 16.
Yeah, well, at 15 I had a guitar, and I would sit there and try to play Row Row Your Boat. We actually talked about this earlier.
Yes, yeah.
And I couldn't tune the thing, and I didn't know it wasn't tuned. I thought I did a good enough job tuning it. And so I was sitting there and like, bleh, bleh. But I was way too stubborn to give up, and I was like, whatever, it says what I'm supposed to do, and I know I'm doing it right. So I just kept doing it and doing it. And then after like a month,
someone's like, hey, that's not tuned right.
No, I picked up a guitar that was tuned.
Yeah.
And I was dating a girl at her house, and she's like, oh, you play right? And I'm like, oh, I really don't, And she made me play it. And I was like, oh my god, I'm Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you tune it.
Yeah, it was night and day. And I was like, yep, I'm into this. I actually do it.
When did you decide to kind of take it to the next level and start playing out? Because that's how, like, I know plenty of people who play guitar, but there's a big step between playing at home and playing out somewhere.
So the reason you didn't know I played until I moved and we didn't know each other anymore is because I I don't know, I didn't have much confidence in my live performance. But then I didn't have any friends up there, and when I started to meet some friends, because it was a new area, they played guitar, and they had a show. And they kind of just like, you want to play a couple songs in between? And I was like, sure. And I kept going and going. It got to the point where, if my friend Billy hears this, no offense to you, Billy, but no one was showing up to listen to you. They were showing up to listen to me do a few songs. And so the bar started asking if I wanted to do the show, and so I dialed in the rest of my show and loved it ever since.
Nice. And that's the thing about bars. Like it's funny because I've seen or spoken to people of both mindsets. Like I've met musicians who've been like, "Oh, my job is to keep the people there that are there," and I've met other people who are like, "My job is to bring people in." And
I think it's both.
I feel like it is a bit of both, but I feel like as far as the bar is concerned, it's more they want to see people come in.
Oh yeah,
You know.
but that doesn't mean you can negate the people who are already there.
No. I mean, you can't drive away people, which
Right.
I've been in. Man.
You told me about a couple of them.
No, bad situations that emptied out the bar pretty quick.
What a terrible
They're
night.
funny now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt awful just being there. And so did you play solo up there,
It was always solo up there. Actually, until the tail end, I played with my friend who wasn't very good at drums.
Yeah.
But we wanted to be in a band so bad he bought drums and just tried.
Okay.
Had a couple of various projects down here.
Yeah, because when you came back down here, you had a band for a while, and
Yep.
then the last time I saw you, I think you were playing with like one other guy.
Yeah, his name's Polish Bob. Him and I have a band, Wicked Undertow.
His name is Polish Bob?
Oh, yeah. You
Okay.
give you 3 tries to guess his nationality.
Scottish.
I knew you were going to fail this. So he made a Craigslist ad, and when I first moved down, I was like, I just want to keep playing music. So I responded to it. He's a firefighter, and there's a whole bunch of Robs that work there.
Yeah.
So they just call him Polish Bob so they can differentiate him. And like I said, Wicked Undertow is what we play as, and it's actually getting really, really dialed in.
Yeah, I think
People love
last time we talked, you said you've been getting like pretty busy. So for the people in the Plymouth area, like where are the places that you play that people can see?
So far, it's just Luciosa's, but there's a singer-songwriter night where you kind of market with new people.
Yeah.
So I went there last week and going there again Monday.
And where's that?
It's at the BBC in Plymouth.
Oh, the one right. Oh,
Right down the street from where
I'm pointing. I don't know
Yeah.
why I'm pointing on a podcast, but yeah, it's right around the
Yeah.
corner.
So singer-songwriter night, and when I went last week, it's just unbelievable amount of talent.
Yeah.
And I just hope that I can start to market myself and get a couple more shows down here. But right now, Luciosa's books us in the spring and summer, so
Yeah. Nice.
foot in the door.
Yeah, there used to be a open mic here that was just unbelievable. Like I've been here for nights that were open mics that better than some regular bands playing here, and then it just kind of like tailed off all of a sudden. And but I think there's another one maybe at Thinners in Kingston.
All right.
Yeah, so you may want to check that out. Those open mics are, you know,
Good way to start.
exactly, get yourself out there. So how long has your CD been on? Because I know it's not like just out. You've had it out for a little while.
It was released in May 20th.
Was it that long ago?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So what's that? 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
And how do you feel the response is so far?
It's about what I was hoping, and that's so the pessimist in me is like, no one's gonna buy it, no one cares, it's gonna be terrible, and then the optimist in me is like, I'm gonna become the next. Insert your favorite artist here.
Justin Bieber.
Probably gonna go more towards like a John Mayer, but you know what? I would not be upset if I had a success.
Get some Justin
had.
Bieber money. Yeah.
But I made a good chunk of the change that it costs to make it back already. And,
Oh, nice.
I mean, I just sold 1 minute ago.
Yeah. I heard she was a tough sell too.
Yeah, I had to harass her for a little while. High pressure sales environments, the market.
It happens. So we were just talking before the podcast. At the end of this, we're going to attach a little snippet so people can hear a sample, and if they were interested in buying it, is there a website? Like, how would they go?
RobLoesher.com.
RobLoesher.com.
Or you can find it on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify.
So you can just oh, it's on Spotify?
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So the way Spotify works, being it puts you in with other similar artists, is there a way that you can track to see like how many people are hearing your song? Or?
So there is. It's about a week behind, but that's pretty up to date.
Yeah.
And I listen to the channel all the time because I don't want to get paid for all the views. The listens for it.
So if you listen, it still pays you for it?
Well, my account that I uploaded it with is not the account that I listen
I see.
on.
I got what you're saying. Smart.
But when I first did it, like, it would play Rihanna and like Drake and whatnot with it.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that it's now starting to play music that sounds more in line with what I have. Like Jason Mraz will start playing Bruno Mars. And so I think more people are listening to it and like giving it a thumbs up or down so that it's in the right genre.
Yeah. And but like I said, do you get to do you know like?
Oh, sorry,
people,
yeah. It tells me how many times songs were streamed each day.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's days that it just spikes for no reason, like 250 people listen to it.
Yeah.
And then days will dip down and it's like 13.
13 still. Yeah.
It's a big
right.
dozen.
Yeah. Have you had anyone reach out to you, kind of like from hearing you on Spotify?
I've gotten some random album sales, so I'd like to think that's from Spotify because
Yeah.
it'll link right to either iTunes or my website, or you can just look for it, and that's how they found it. The best I've gotten so far is I know that his name's drawing a blank, but it's a country music star, and he's a huge country music star. His manager got my album.
Really?
And he's looking into it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I want to say it's Tracy Atkins.
I don't know who that is, but I'll take your word for it. Not a country music person.
Trace Atkins,
Okay.
that's it.
That's our extensive research department that just came up with that.
I'm not a huge country fan either, but a lot of people who like country like my music.
Really?
So
like, where would you say your influences come from?
So 3 people in particular: John Mayer, and not in the I'm awesome and my ego's bigger than anything in this world, but his actual technical ability and the way that he records versus plays live is just phenomenal. John Butler, not a lot of people know who he is, but he's got this real funky, unique style. And then there's a local guy, Brian Hitchings, at the third left, and I've been watching him play for the last
Third
12
left, I
years.
feel like I've heard that.
Everybody knows
Yeah.
who third left is in Plymouth.
I've definitely heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard them, but I've definitely heard that name before.
So their guitarist, like his technique and the way he uses pedals, and just how they can go from such an intricate to such an intense beat in the same like 2 minutes. It's been a huge influence on me, and probably the most because I see him live and I watch what he does, and then I
Yeah.
go home and try to mimic it.
Nice. So, like, would you? I mean, like we joke, I'd love to have the success of Justin Bieber, but that it's beyond a paycheck. Like, that is life altering.
Yeah.
So like you see people like a Kurt Cobain that almost seem to suffer through it. Do you think you want that aspect of it, or just kind of the?
I don't think anybody wants that aspect of it, but I think that would come with it. And if I could be so privileged to get there,
Mhm.
I would.
You
I'd be able to
think
do that.
you'd be okay to deal with the paparazzi and the
I would. I do.
Jennifer Aniston?
Daniel Radcliffe, I think, is the best example. When he was doing the last movie, Harry Potter,
Yeah.
he wore the same clothes every time he walked around. And the paparazzi eventually stopped following him because he was wearing the same clothes, and so they couldn't market it as different days. So it made it look
Wow,
like
that's
they
really
took all the
clever. I
pictures of the
haven't
same
heard
day.
that. He's like a super smart guy. I've heard a lot of interviews with him.
He's a good rapper too, actually.
Yes, I've seen him on Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen him rap on Jimmy Fallon. And did you ever see Horns?
That was a phenomenal movie.
Great movie,
Yeah.
written by Stephen King's son.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Joe Hill. Great movie. And I felt that. I think that was the first thing I saw him in, where I thought of him as an adult.
Right.
Even though in the last
He's still Harry Potter everywhere.
in the last movies of Harry Potter, he was an adult, but like he was still Harry Potter.
Right.
But it was a huge departure from Harry Potter, but still kind of in that fantasy world, and great flick.
Yeah, it was a really cool story.
Yeah. So, do you feel like your music is influenced by other things like movies and TV? Or what is your inspiration come from?
Mostly relationships.
Oh, okay.
Failed or new ones.
Yeah. So.
So when I write a song, sorry, that's lit.
Yeah.
When I write a song, I've always listened and read all these articles and all these artists, how they make a song and the best way to grasp the audience attention. But I do it my own way. Like I start writing the music first.
Yeah.
And then whatever I wrote, something similar to that will be the final product. But 9 times out of 10, I just start singing some kind of lyric. Not really thinking about it. It's just like something happens. Like I just wrote the song the other day, and I just started singing. You don't know me like you used to. You don't know me like you thought you did. 7 years of bad luck took its toll.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me. Oh, I know exactly what I'm singing about.
Yeah. So is it more almost like venting?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Or like when you're in a good mood and you're just like ecstatic and you're just going off about it. But the problem I always have is writing a second verse, because I can get right through the first verse and get through like a nice chorus and then maybe tweak it a little. Because I'm just like right in the moment, it's natural, and then I feel compelled to make an awesome second verse, and now I'm trying.
Right.
And so now,
and that is such a, like I've heard that from a lot of people and experienced it myself. Is like you almost have to kind of get into that like zen.
Yep.
Like, when I'm drawing or painting and I feel like I'm doing it well, I'm not really thinking about it. Like I'm not like, oh, this is supposed to be here, and this, like it all just kind of flows out.
Right.
And from practice and whatnot, it just kind of hopefully comes out right. So it's a similar thing when you write lyrics.
it is. I wrote a song called "Welcome to My Nightmare."
I believe Alice Cooper wrote that.
It's all right. People have the same names.
All right.
But I'm actually talking with the studio now to start recording an EP and to release the second one, and that song's going to be on it. And at the time, I had lost the girlfriend that I thought was going to be the one. I'd lost the dog that she more so, but we kind of raised together. And since we lived together, I didn't have a house, and I was in between jobs, which is just a hippie way of saying I didn't have a job. So basically, I had nothing.
So you lost your job, you lost your girl, you lost your dog, and you lost your house, and you wonder why country music guys like interested in your music.
Well, the thing is, I have a car. I have a car.
Yeah.
So that's where I differentiate.
I think you need to buy a truck with a gun rack, and I think you'll hit the big time.
I know. Just go hunting and have a tailgate party.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There you go. You're done.
But
Problem solved.
when I first wrote that song, like it's just an emotionally deep felt, depressing song. And every time I performed it during the first like couple of months when this first happened, everyone like loved it.
Yeah.
And then I got my own place. I was actually never homeless because we paid last month and like technicalities.
Yeah.
And it's like a claim to fame now. But I bounced back and like I'm doing great. But when I started bouncing back, doing great, I'd play that song and I didn't get the same reaction. So enough time's gone by that the girl doesn't make me sad to think about her anymore. But the dog still does. So when I'm on stage, I start thinking about how I miss my dog so much, and I start playing it, and I get the same emotion again.
Oh, that's funny. And
Yeah.
you still get the same feedback when you're thinking about it?
Yep.
Nice. That's really interesting. I was thinking kind of like of the Eddie Vedder thing with that song Alive, and how when he wrote the song, it was a very dark song, kind of like Why Am I Still Alive? And I heard a story that like because of the fans almost like misunderstanding the song, the fans see it as a positive thing, like I am still alive, and so it has like changed the song for him because of the way that the fans.
Well, that's good because that changes for the positive.
Yeah, definitely. But it's unfortunate that you have to be sad in order to get the right.
That's all right.
Do you feel there's a bigger response for the sad songs as opposed to the happy songs?
If the happy song is intricate, you'll get the same.
Yeah.
But if you were doing a simple song, the sad songs absolutely hit home more.
Yeah.
Which, now that I say that out loud, is kind of sad, but...
Well, I've seen it like a lot with bands, like either one-hit wonders. They'll have like one song that jumps to mind is Ugly Kid Joe, I Hate Everything About You. That song was huge, and then like they kind of just disappeared.
That was that.
And it was just because everyone at some point hates somebody and can relate to that song. Like Alanis Morissette had a very like angry, sad first album, and then she went to Tibet, kind of found herself and came to terms with her life, and put out another album. No one cared, and it's like. So do you feel you'll always have to kind of like stir up those emotions to?
A lot of probably half the songs I have, I try to get into the mentality when I play it.
Yeah.
It's just Welcome to My Nightmare is new, and so I play it more often.
Yeah.
And it's been getting a really good response. But yeah, I try to get in the mentality for the songs because you got to play from your heart.
Yeah.
And that's how.
I feel like that'd be like emotionally draining, like by the end of the night.
Well, that's why I get paid the big bucks. Also, beer.
I thought you played here. Yeah, beer helps.
Yeah, beer actually replenishes that. Scientific fact.
It is a scientific fact.
I'm the scientist.
So, you have the grand, everyone has that grand dream of being a rock. Not everybody, but musicians have that grand dream of being a rock star. But like, do you have like an intermediate goal? Be like, I'd really like to play in Boston, or get on. I don't even want to say the radio because I feel like the radio is not a thing anymore that people really listen to.
I've played on the radio, actually.
Yeah.
I would like to just have one hit song. Even if I was a one-hit wonder,
Yeah.
like at least something happened. People listen to my music. I mean, I've already made the album. On Monday, that singer-songwriter night, I'm actually playing on the same stage that Brian Hitch is going to be playing on. He's one of my influences.
Yep.
So that's, like, it's just so cool just to be at the point I'm at. Obviously, I want more, but every step that I take is, like, I sleep easy at night knowing that I'm putting the effort in.
Yeah. And that's something like we were talking about earlier when I mentioned you from on the podcast. I'm like, I don't know anyone who works harder at marketing himself, and that's a total compliment.
Thank you.
You're always posting on Facebook and social media and links to your page, your CD, and like, if anyone's putting in the work, you're the local guy who's putting in the work to. So. I'm glad to see that it's paying off. I mean, that's crazy. That to me, it's. I find it surprising when someone I don't know is interested in what I'm doing. It's one thing when your friend is like, "Oh, I like what you're doing," or "I saw your post," or whatever. But like when you have those random sales that come out of nowhere, I mean, to me, that would be the most exciting. Like, what's the furthest away you've had that?
Oh, it's all. I actually.
Have you had anyone international about it?
I don't know. It doesn't tell me who bought it.
Oh, it doesn't tell you.
It's just random sales. And my friends will be like, I just bought your album.
Yeah.
And there's too many of the random sales from all these friends.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And it's not like there's a plethora.
So like you don't. So you're talking about like downloads, like actually shipping out the CD or.
I haven't shipped the CD out to anybody.
Okay.
That I don't know.
So
but
just like
the downloads,
yeah.
But it's a digital age. So
We were discussing earlier. Apparently, I'm fucking old as hell. Cause,
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. Like so. Was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago, I was because my son is playing an instrument now, plays saxophone, and he's really getting into it. And I'm like, I'm gonna get him some CDs for Christmas that have sax players in it. And so I'm kind of like coming up with bands, Morphine, a local band called Clutch Grabwell, and so I'm looking up their CDs online. All of a sudden, it occurs to me, I call my ex-wife, and I'm like, hey. Does Liam have a way to play a CD? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I don't know why I would think he would. And so it kind of, I got him like an iTunes gift card. And I'm like, here, you should download these bands. And I just feel like it takes away.
Yeah, it's the novelty of it.
Yeah, like you can't give someone a mixtape anymore, or a mixed CD. And it's just like, And like in your case, you don't have that. I shipped a CD to Spain today or anything, So
That'd be cool. People in Europe have liked my album, which is probably the coolest thing because that's where all the coolest rock and roll bands come from.
Not all of them.
One of the coolest ones.
Well, so
Led Zeppelin, the Beatles.
Like, where's your Because you mentioned three bands, but like when I've seen you play, there's a lot of like classic rock. Like, did you feel there was a lot of influence from bands like Zeppelin? And
so I grew up listening to Zeppelin. I actually didn't like the Beatles for the longest time. And then I finally saw them like. But a lot of the reason I play classic rock is, one, we're playing in a bar. You got to play with people like.
Yeah.
And then two, all the people that I play with all like classic rock.
Classic rock,
So that's what they want to cover, and like that's fine by me, so long as we get to do some things here and there.
yeah,
like
kind
the
of
guy I
mix
play,
in.
right?
Yeah.
The guy I play with would do acoustic, and I'll put on a distortion. We'll start playing "Kickstart My Heart" from Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Like just keep it interesting, and then we'll go back to some classic rock. And
Do you play Wagon Wheel?
yes, we play Wagon Wheel.
It's because a friend of mine, John Creek, who plays around the area, we had like a super serious conversation one day about specifically Wagon Wheel, but like to me, Wagon Wheel is symbolic of that getting paid to play and playing what you like and kind of coming to terms with, like, because like initially, like before the conversation, I was like, I'm never playing Wagon Wheel in my personal, like I'm not gonna be the guy that does, like I'm not gonna do that anymore. And like kind of through talking to him, it's kind of like, no, you kind of have to walk that line between playing, because like people want to hear what they want to hear, and you're being paid to provide something, and that's the trick.
I don't mind playing Wagon Wheel because I'll take out my harmonica and do a harmonica solo.
Yeah.
But it's when we play Brown Eyed Girl and Sweet Caroline that I'm like,
Sweet Caroline, I like Brown Eyed Girl.
Everybody likes Brown Eyed Girl.
Well, I feel like not everybody. So, is there anything that you like? There's no way I'm going to play that or bring that into the set.
No, there's nothing I wouldn't play. Again, the only way you're going to be successful is to provide the service the right way.
Yeah.
So I want subliminally you to be like, I need to buy this guy's album. So I'm going to play a bunch of songs you like and have your interest, and then I'm going to play my own song.
Slip in your song.
Yeah, and I have different feels in different songs so that I can gauge the crowd and figure out which one I'm going to play.
Yeah. Is there something that you'd like to work into the set that would be non-traditional? We were talking here earlier. One of the bands that was a personal favorite of mine that I've seen a couple times, Faith No More, would play Lady Gaga or Nestle's commercial or the New Kids on the Block. So they would work like really not non-traditional, but stuff you would never expect them to play. Like is there something?
So I already played Dayman. Do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No, I don't.
So there's a song Dayman.
Okay.
And I play that. And I really want to put Hit Me Baby One More Time from Britney Spears in, and then learn how to play Freebird, just so when the asshole yells Freebird, we actually just stop and just actually play Freebird, and it's only an acoustic duo. The problem is that puts so much more burden on me because I'm solo, and he's the rhythm.
Yeah.
So he's literally playing 3 chords, and I'm trying to
play
impress the jerk off that just yelled Freebird.
Which I'm sure happens a lot.
At every show it happens a lot.
So, is there something that you're listening to like right now that is different?
Actually, Stevie Wonder.
Oh,
I've been listening to him like throughout the years, but just the song "Isn't She Lovely?"
Yeah.
Like I challenge anybody to find a song more positive and upbeat than that song.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like there's songs out there that you almost take for granted, and that's probably one of them. It's like everyone knows that song.
Yeah.
Everyone's heard it a million times, but like, have you like really stopped and
If
listened to it?
if you just sit there and just listen to that song, you can be in a bad mood and you won't by the end of that song.
I remember I was watching a movie and it had Sly and the Family Stone. Everyday People. It was a terrible song. I do that. And it was just like I'd heard it before, but just kind of like sitting and being like, this is a really damn good song.
Yeah.
And I wish people could kind of like hear songs for the first time, And
You should buy my album.
Well, I'm gonna burn it. Can't I just pirate it, bro? Well, that brings up an interesting, like, you're kind of at a point where you want people to hear your music, but of course everybody wants to make a living and get paid for their efforts. how do you feel about like things like BitTorrent and
You know,
pirating
honestly,
music?
if I was popular enough to even have people that wanted to steal my music, that'd be cool.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's like, you know, you get to the point where, you know, say Metallica, because they're well known for it.
Right.
You know, they're so well known that people are stealing their music by the millions. You know, I'm sure they're losing a significant amount of money, but in the same aspect, if you lost $100, that'd be way more.
Percentage-wise,
Yeah, percentage-wise, that's a lot of money. You know, Lars Ulrich, who gives a shit if he lost $100.
Because he didn't even know.
Yeah. But would you, like, so you would kind of feel like it's a badge of honor, maybe? Like, holy crap, someone...
Yeah, I mean, nothing I'm doing is large scale. Like, I have 2 jobs, soon to be 1.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not making all my money off this. Like, I'm making beer money.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm learning how to brew my own beer with this money and buying equipment. So, like, it's a lot of fun. I'd love to do it professionally, and I'm working towards doing it professionally. But right now, if people are going to steal it, like, there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
Like, I can cry about it, or I can just be happy that my music was good enough for them to at least take the time to click. Because honestly, it's such a lazy population,
Yeah.
they at least tried to steal it. So
Right.
they did something.
I mean, I actually, not that long ago, had an experience where someone took a piece of my artwork and was selling it on iPhone cases. And someone sent me a link. They're like, is this you? Are you doing this? And, like, I looked, and it was something I had put up on Inebri-art and kind of forgot about. And it still had the watermark on it from where
they didn't try to,
they
like,
didn't even try.
Photoshop it.
Yeah, they just saved it off of DeviantArt. And it was kind of like, no, it's not me, but really, is it worth my time to go after them selling, even if they sold half a dozen, is it really worth my time to...
If anything, you just send them a message and they're like, oh yeah, I sold like 300 of them. You know to start doing that
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly. Yeah, well,
Like,
send me too.
stop.
But of course, like when you looked at it, it was like the account was out of China.
Yeah.
And it was on Amazon, and they're like, oh, well, you need to provide all this paperwork. And I'm like, it's not worth the time. But it's kind of like, it is that little bit of like, holy crap, someone stole something I have. And you were talking about how you had that country person who I've already forgotten their name.
Trace Atkins.
Trace Atkins. Was it his manager?
His manager.
So, I mean, that's, to me, that's like huge. Like,
Yeah.
Have you like,
that was all that I know about it.
yeah.
So I have a friend who lives in Florida, and she was playing my CD while she had a couple of friends in the car. And they're like, oh, this is awesome, you know this guy? I'm like, yeah, we're friends. I'm like, no way. Because I spent $9,000 making the album. Like, it's mastered, it's produced, it's distributed. And they're like, oh, we should get Bo's husband to listen to this. And she's telling me the story, and I'm like, well, who's Bo?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's just one of their friends. I'm like, well, who's Bo's husband? Oh, it's Jason Aldean. It's not Trace Atkins. Sorry, Trace
I think
Atkins.
I've heard that name before.
Jason Aldean. They like,
Trace Atkins, don't sue us. It was Rob Loesher.
Right. I'm sure your music is just as awesome.
And I'm sure they're both going to listen to this podcast.
But, yeah, Jason Aldean's manager is Bo's husband. And so she gave him a CD, and they gave it to Bo, so that Bo could give it to Jason Aldean's manager, which is her husband. And I was like, did you give him my number? And she's like, no. I'm like, what is that?
He's probably like, I cannot find this Rob Loesher guy.
I'm pretty sure. Actually, if you Google it.
I was going to say, you must have at least the...
You mean RobLoesher.com.
I was going to say, you must have the web address on the CD, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you use social media? I mean, like we've already talked about a little bit, but do you promote your shows? Like, have you found it to be beneficial?
For a while it was. We'll just say X amount of time I have Y budget. And I do Facebook ads. Ever since a month before my album was released, I've been running an ad. Non-stop. Like, I have a marketing budget for just that.
Yeah.
So I used to have my budget set for 5 times the amount it is right now. And I got much better results.
Yeah.
And I like to eat, and I like to drink and live, and date and, you know, be active.
So be a normal person.
Yeah, so I had to cut the marketing expense back, but I can't cut it completely, so I have to have it at some minimum.
Yeah.
And so it's working still, but it works better when it was at a higher amount.
Right.
And like $4 value, it worked better. Not just because I was spending more.
Spending more money.
Better, but
yeah. Well, I feel like there's a lot of stuff online that I was talking about this at work the other day, where if you cut your budget, they almost like have algorithms that kind of block you to almost encourage you to spend back what you were spending.
It's trickling now. I'm still getting what I need out of it, just slowly but surely.
So you're talking about an EP that you're
in the works right now. I actually have gone in the studio once. I already started.
New songs?
Yep. 5 or 6. It would just be like a $5 CD instead of the 11 songs for 10.
Mm-hmm. And do you have like an expected release date?
No, because it's expensive. It's a very expensive process. I'm funding it all myself. So,
have you ever thought about like a Kickstarter or
I've thought about it, but
like a Patreon?
the Patreon I've looked into a lot.
Yeah.
But just, I don't know, I'm not there yet that I can make that commitment.
The Patreon, I think, is more difficult because you almost have to generate more stuff more frequently.
Yeah. I can do video covers.
Yeah.
But
I suppose. But you have to give something to the people who are paying.
I'd have to get a better camera. I'd have to get like a nice setup because I know myself and I'd be a perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
And just, like I said before, I work 2 jobs right now. And it's almost at the point where I'm financially sound. My day job will be just totally fine, and I'll make supplemental income off music enough that I'm working way less than what I do now and still living the same.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. I'm a couple months away from that. But until that point, I have to keep bearing through so that I can get there.
Yeah. Do you have anything on YouTube?
I do. I have a performance of me playing on a radio station. I have a few of my album songs. And a couple of live performances.
Sorry, we're doing a beer order. It's very important.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Hank. Can you go see
I
what
should
she
probably
wants?
get up to let her know what
But
there
no,
is.
he can do that.
I'm just going to make sure I get my pub brew.
Very important here.
Very good, too.
The beer orders. I'm sorry, I totally spaced out beer. And
Well, microbrew, that's what it's all about.
So you said you're brewing your own beer?
Yes. So, technically I'm not brewing beer yet. I have some of the material, but I don't have everything yet for the equipment. So right now I have, I think, 9 different gallons of wine. So like 9 1-gallon wine, but like none of them are made with grapes. So I have a peach wine that's made from peaches. Like I take the peaches, like 3 to 5 pounds of them, and just smash them up.
You don't eat your feet, do you?
Absolutely not.
All right.
I don't know why everyone thinks that's socially acceptable in the wine world, but it's just not outside of the wine world. I use gloves and everything's sanitized, and get the water, add the sugar, and use the correct chemicals, make sure it's balanced. And so far, it's all too early to tell if it's going to be decent, but
So now, like, how long does it have to
age for like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you got some time.
because of that, I started doing my own cider because that takes about a month.
I do like cider.
And so far, I have an apple cranberry cider that's coming out good.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not decent. It's above decent. But it, like the price, it's like $12 to make a gallon of it, and a gallon's like 2 12-packs.
Right.
So it's like $6 a 12-pack, so it's worth it. And then I made a green tea ginseng apple cider, and it's phenomenal. So I might start doing 5 gallons of that.
So if the ciders you've already like sampled, you've already like.
Well, yeah, it only
they're
takes
good
like
to
about
go.
a month and a half to do.
Yeah.
I was sick of waiting for the wine.
And so now you're going to try beer as well. Like what kind of beer? Like a dark beer, light beer, pilsner? Like...
Brown ales.
Yeah. Oh, brown ales are
I
good.
love brown ales. I'm buying the expensive equipment too. So the one that you plug into the wall and it regulates the temperature, so it's always 68 degrees inside, so it'll be used to the perfect temperature regardless of what it is outside.
Yeah.
So it's taking a little bit longer.
Have you been to some of like the local breweries.
I've been independent fermentation. I was at
They're,
Dirty Water.
I love. We work at Dirty Water. They're awesome.
Yeah, I love
Indie Firm. They're have honey something.
Tribal.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, delicious. Very, very good.
Yep. We, my buddy Corey and I, just all day, we just went there. Went to Dirty Water. Their horseradish vodka is just phenomenal.
I think I don't know if I've tried that one yet.
Bloody Marys.
Yeah, perfect for Bloody Mary.
You take a sip of that, and it's just vodka, and then you have that aftertaste, like, ting that you get with horseradish.
Yeah,
And at first, I was like, he has a bacon one too. I didn't try the bacon one.
I've tried that.
Yeah.
I've tried their coffee.
I don't know where it's. I tried the coffee. I wasn't a huge fan.
I'm not a big fan of coffee in general, but
Yeah.
you know, it tastes just like coffee. My favorite there is the Clementine.
I bought the Clementine.
That's so good.
I went home and I put it in orange juice, and then I forgot that there was Clementine vodka.
That and their honey liqueur of Elmas.
Yes.
That is so good,
Mhm.
and also really good with cider.
All right.
Yeah, which I didn't know. Pepe's like, oh, you should try this, and like, and I'm sure he didn't mean hard cider, as just regular apple cider. Their stuff's phenomenal.
Dealer's choice.
Yeah,
We have
exactly.
hard cider.
Why not?
And then that same day, we went over to Craft Beer Cellar, and there was a vendor there,
Yeah,
and he was giving away samples of Cranbrook Brewery,
yeah,
and so I bought a couple of them too.
nice. We love it there. They're super great to us. But apparently they had some sort of flood in the basement where we normally record, so that's why
That's
we're
unfortunate.
able to just yeah, and they're also in the middle of doing their they do a what's it called? Oh, advent calendar.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Can you say that louder? Sheila doesn't want to be on the recording.
Well, she brought me beer, so she's in my book regardless.
So yeah, the craft beer cellar is great down there. So what made you decide to? Is it like why brew your own?
Oh, so when I said that it's just a hippie answer when I didn't have a job, it was actually a conscious decision to no longer work for the job I was at.
Okay.
Um,
So if you brewed your own, you could save some money.
No.
That kind of thing, or
I knew I was going to get unemployment because the way that I was treated was completely irrational and just out of line.
mm-hmm.
So I was faced with a decision. I had to do A or B. Both would get me fired, but A would have kept the store open and profitable, so I chose A. I let my boss know I got fired for it. I told unemployment. Got his toss between these two, blah, blah, blah. I researched it a lot. So I got my unemployment. I wasn't on unemployment too long because I don't want to live off the system. But about a month in, I was just dying. Like, I need to do something. I'm just watching, like, how many times can I watch Scrubs in a row? A lot, actually. But eventually, I'm
like one more episode, and then I'm gonna do something.
right.
Yeah.
But after, like, the third time watching Scrubs straight through, I decided that I needed some kind of mental stimulation because quoting JD as he's saying it probably isn't going to help me in the long term. So I started researching how to make my own wine, and then once I got a job, bought everything I needed and started brewing my wine. Venting, technically.
Yeah.
Venting my wine.
That's like I think you're the only person I've ever met to brew their own wine. Never.
Blackberry. I have blackberry going. I have a blueberry vanilla going. I have peach. I have a coffee wine.
Coffee wine.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, when you...
I suppose coffee is technically a berry, right?
I think it's a nut. No, it's
Is
not
it?
a nut.
I think it's a berry.
Either way,
Yeah.
I can sample it when I'm switching it over. But
We're
it's
getting
not
we're
done
doing research
brewing.
on that right now because it's the most important thing.
It's not technically done, and like there's a lot of yeast and sediment still in it, but I've tasted it in between, and it's like a turbocharged shot of coffee.
That will eventually be.
It'll mellow out.
But I mean,
theoretically.
it'll eventually have an alcohol.
Oh yeah, it
content,
already
too.
has the alcohol content when I try
Because that's
it.
what you need, like caffeine and
Yeah.
alcohol.
I have a pomegranate one, a kiwi one. So doing a little bit different fruits.
Yeah.
A mango one. So
And
see
now are
what
these
goes.
like in kegs or caps or?
So it's a
bottles?
gallon glass carboy. It's like the gallon jug.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The typical glass one that
Yeah,
everyone
it's like the glass
thinks
one
of.
with like the little,
Yep,
little thumb loop on the side.
Yep. Oh, that loop's awesome when you're trying to move it around.
So how long have you been back on the South Shore? It hasn't been all that long, has it?
2 years? 3?
Really?
2. I'm thinking 2 years.
Wow, it doesn't seem like it. I feel like you just moved down here like at the beginning of the year, and your album
6
came out
weeks
like,
ago.
and your album came out like 6 weeks ago. That's what it feels like.
I've been talking to this girl, and we're just joking back and forth, and to her 3 weeks is a year.
Okay.
Just like, the joke, and
Yeah.
you start to get interested in someone there and just sit back and like everything's great. Hopefully that stays that way. But she's like, oh yeah, 3 weeks is a year in my time frame, so I moved back 6 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, I see. So do you ever hopefully, I don't want it to be this way, but do you, in a relationship, do you ever get to that point where you're like, oh, this relationship is going to be a lot of good songs?
No.
No, you don't
never
think that
never
way,
had
or
that.
just
Nope.
no, so it's more like after the, do we have a verdict? Copy? Like Taylor Swift.
It's Taylor Swift is a coffee bean. No. It is the seed of a coffee plant. It's like a cherry stone.
Oh, okay. So
So
it's not right at all.
No, neither.
It's a seed.
It's a seed. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been in relationships and wrote about how happy I am in those relationships. And then that's the only thing that's ever happened in a relationship. Then afterwards, there might be a, God, you sucked song.
do you?
Which isn't everybody,
Yeah,
obviously.
But you know who you are. Do you have?
Kelly.
Whoa. Do you have the like? It seems like a lot of your songs come from that area. Do you have other songs from other parts of your life, or are you just like a tragic
So,
dating?
the 11, real quick run through. 11 songs in the album. Number 1's Bad Girlfriends. My cousin was dating this girl that nobody liked, so it wasn't actually my ex. But halfway through writing it, I realized that it might be my ex, Kelly. So, song 2 is called Addiction. It's literally about how I can't stop eating Taco Bell.
Okay.
Not about drugs. Song 3 is Social Suicide. I have a friend who one day just, all it was told me she doesn't have to go out to have a good time. And it just stuck with me ever since, and I wrote a song about 8 years later.
Yeah.
4, Heading South, is about a new relationship and putting faith into it. 5, How Beautiful That You Are, is about wanting to be with someone you can't be with. 6, Falling in Love, Girl I Was in Love With. You know her. 7, Parents. I was trying to write the most stereotypical country-ish song I could for my parents who like country.
Oh, that's sweet.
8 is No Romance. I have a friend who never wants to be in a relationship, he just wants to have sex, and the song is about just that. Just having someone that your relationship is, you just have sex.
Yeah.
9 is Sonic, and it's about a new relationship. 10 is Hindsight is 2020, and that's exactly that. Like, you, whoops, shouldn't have done that. Or, oh, I should have known that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then 11 is Persevere. When I moved up to Lowell, I didn't know anybody. I worked full-time, went to school full-time. And I had a studio that was tiny. And I sunk in, and I wasn't happy. Like, I didn't have any friends and anybody to talk to. But I knew that I was going to school, and so it was something good for me. And so the song's Persevere, and so Persevere and You'll Do Fine is like the last part of the chorus. And it's just about how everything sucks, but I know I have to just bear through it.
Yeah.
And it might not make sense now, but it will in the long term. And so, I really like those lyrics in that song. It's home, literally.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely have a niche. Definitely, those relationship type songs, and then a Taco Bell song.
Yeah. Well, I mean, priorities.
Well, yeah, I get it.
I have a list of things I love. It's music, women. I say it that quick because I can't decide on which one's more important. And then Taco Bell.
Yeah.
So, that's why I weigh 160 pounds.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, it's a curse
Yeah.
that I enjoy having.
So you wrote a song, I suppose for your parents.
Yeah.
What did they? What were their response to that?
They never even mentioned the fact that it's called Parents, or that I literally sing about parents. They're just excited that I have an album.
Yeah. Do they know it's
Yeah.
like a song for them?
And they're like, oh yeah, we knew. Oh, we like it.
Yeah.
So no, they didn't know.
They didn't. Yeah.
They just claimed they did.
Yeah. But they're very supportive of your
Yes.
venture.
But I will not forget when I had the album shipped to their house.
Okay.
And my mom told me to go pack. So, like, obviously, if I dropped everything I was doing and I ran over, I finally got my album. Like, I paid for a photo shoot to get the actual CD itself, my hand holding the beer. It's me on the waterfront, it's my guitar in the back. I was excited. And they're like, oh, we want to listen. And I'm like, $10. And that's exactly what my dad
awesome.
did. I ain't paying for it. Just laughed at me and just grabbed it out of my hand. And I'm like, thanks for the support, Dad. But yeah,
That's awesome.
other than that, my dad actually was way more ecstatic than my mom, which
Yeah.
is surprising.
But
they were
he
very
was kind of like
supportive.
the first one to encourage you to play.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know if he knows that,
yeah.
but
But
I mean, we have a good relationship. It's just, I don't know.
to him, it might have been like a throwaway statement.
Right.
But, yeah. Yeah, you never know. Like, I have 2 kids, and you never know what the hell's going to stick when you're talking to them. Sometimes you tell them something that you're like, I hope this
Right.
registers.
He'll rest assured to know that I take the time to flip the light switch the entire way. And he'll know about that.
Okay.
But telling me to play guitar, he might not remember.
Yeah. I mean, like, when you have kids, you want to instill knowledge in them, and sometimes you feel like when you're trying that they're not listening, and then other times they'll just bring something up that you'd be like, I don't even remember saying that.
Right.
You know, so it's a very, kids are an interesting social experiment, I suppose.
And they're probably the best thing to do experiments on, right?
Well,
A fragile mind.
they're I'm really fascinated now because mine they're turning into people. You know, my son is a teenager now, my daughter is about to become a teenager, and that's like really when you define who you are as a person.
Right. Everything you've done is pretty much set in, like 90%.
So I'm done, more or less. You know, like financially, I'm still involved, but you know, like as far as making a person and their responsibilities, you're kind of done.
Yeah.
You know, now
You set the base.
Yeah, and now you kind of go to high school and don't do anything really stupid.
Right.
And then you kind of cross your fingers and hope for the best. But I've been super lucky because they're really good kids, and they're way better than I am, like by leaps and bounds. So that kind of parent-kid dynamic is always like really, to me right now, is very interesting because I'm going through it. But I think it's really interesting that like you wrote that for your parents and. They're going like, eh.
Again, they're very like, supportive all around.
Yeah.
But, like that song specifically did nothing
Yeah.
extra.
Well, do they have a favorite song on the album?
All of them. I get the
You go, I can't
the
pick
beauty
one.
pageant.
Yeah,
answer.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're all my favorites. Yeah,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. But I still think that's cool that you did a song for them. So something that we kind of do on this podcast, kind of always ask 2 questions at the end. Is there something that you are reading, watching, listening to, movie, TV show, something that you're into right now that you recommend to our listeners?
Oh, it's always sung in Philadelphia. It's just blasphemy. But once you start watching it enough, it's like you're watching your friends almost. This TV show.
Okay.
And they're just so over the top ridiculous, and like one's such a narcissist, and like another guy's dyslexic, and it's phenomenal.
Is
and
it-
then you get to know what Dayman is.
Is it something that, like, the more you watch, the more you kind of get into it? Like, I've watched the first 10 minutes, I think, 3 times.
Well, the first season didn't have Danny DeVito in it,
Okay.
and then the second season, I was told from a friend that he did the research, and they wanted to do more, but they needed something to bring people in, a little bit more like a celebrity, and so
Yeah.
they brought in Danny DeVito because he was a fan of the show. But once you get to like the Danny DeVito point, like the first season of Danny DeVito is even better than the first season. And then, like, a couple seasons go by, and then all of a sudden it just progressively gets crazier, but you're already invested in the show. And so it's awesome.
Because the way you're explaining this, it makes me think of Arrested Development.
I love Arrested
And I feel like the more
One of the best shows.
I feel like the more you watch it, the funnier it gets.
because you realize you missed all these extra
Yeah,
jokes.
and all the things that kind of build up on it. But I'll
It's
tell
not as
you're not the
intellectual
first
as that.
person. You're not the first person to recommend Always Sunny, so I'll have to really commit and give it some time.
I hated it the first time I watched it.
Yeah,
So
I literally sat down and watched it like 3 times, and like the first 10 minutes, we were like at a coffee shop or something, and
yeah, and like
it's
he
like-
has a black boyfriend who's gay.
and yeah, so there's
Yep.
something like, oh, I have black friends or something like that. I don't know. I didn't see it. I couldn't get into it. And what is something that influences you that might not be this? Is there kind of like we talked a lot about influence, but is there like one artist that kind of like you would expect to have influenced you that kind of influenced you? Prince, really?
Yeah. Prince is a phenomenal guitar player.
Yes, he is.
I didn't know that. I just for the longest
You
time
don't
I
have the
heard
Batman album?
No.
Oh, great album.
So I didn't like Purple Rain. I didn't think it was a good song, and like it was just boring. And this is kind of like the Beatles. Like I didn't like the Beatles growing up,
Yeah.
and then like years and years go by, and I heard Purple Rain, and I'm like, actually, no, it's not that bad of a song. I didn't look it up, but you can't look up anything. Well, at the time, you can now since his unfortunate death. Everything's been on YouTube, but at the time, I couldn't find anything on YouTube. Well, what a monster guitar player! Just phenomenal.
There's a great YouTube video of him and Lenny Kravitz. He's playing American Woman, so I think it's a Lenny Kravitz song, but it's just unreal.
Yeah, he comes out and he just looks like he's not even trying, and he's just shredding. Like Eric Clapton almost wishes he could play that way.
Yeah.
And then literally 2 weeks before his death, I had told one of my friends, like, I'd be pretty bummed if Prince died. And 2 weeks later, I'm literally walking into the Magic Hat Brewery in Vermont,
Yeah.
and I get, my phone goes ding, and I look at it. I don't want to ruin your vacation, but no!
Oh man.
So I drink a Magic Hat number 9 in honor for Prince.
So your Prince.
It's more so his technical ability and his, like, versatility,
Yeah.
more so than his actual songs.
But it's a recent thing that you.
Yes. From last year.
Thanks for killing Prince, Rob.
Oh my god, don't get a terrible word on it. I saw B.B. King like 6 months before he passed away.
I had a streak when I first started going to concerts. If I saw a band, they broke up.
Well, don't come to my show.
Like to the point where one of the bands I went to see announced it was their second to last show, and I'm like, screw this, I'm gonna go see something like that won't break up. And I went and saw the Boston Pops, and then John Williams announced he was retiring like the next month, and I'm like, okay, I shouldn't see anything for a while.
Yeah, you're not allowed to come to my shows.
Yeah, I've been to your shows. Oh, you don't play with those guys anymore, do you?
Whoops.
Sorry.
We're all friends. They're actually going to be featured on the album.
Oh, nice.
The one song we wrote together as a band. Me and the
On
other
the EP?
guitarist. Yep.
Oh, cool.
Me and the other guitarist wrote most of it. But he's going to sing on it. I'm going to do both guitar parts just because I can and just time.
Yeah.
And the drummer's going to come in and drum.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool.
Nice. So, thanks for coming down, and just
for inviting me.
to do our little due diligence here. Our podcast is now going to be weekly, so our listeners can check it out on iTunes or our Facebook page every Monday, and you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at Inebri-art. Please comment and rate our podcast on iTunes. And if you have any questions, comments, whatnot, you can email us at inebriart@yahoo.com. And Rob, thanks again for coming down.
Thank you.
And I'll be sure to pirate your album.
Great. I'm at that point already.
Last Sunday, you left me high and dry. I ended up being alone. All these right swipe dates, they are such a joke. I'm better off staying at home. home to the place where I belong. You call it social suicide, the only place I feel alive. I'm home, the place where I belong. You call it social suicide, the only place I feel alive. I'm home. Your friend has a party. Thank God it's BYOB. You can find me drinking in the corner. That's where I want to be. 'Cause I know right where I belong. So take me home to the place where I belong. Please take me. You call it social suicide, the only place I feel alive. I'm home, the place where I belong. Where I be. You call it social suicide, the only place I feel alive.